started out collecting wheelchairs, going to the trade shows, getting discontinued products. So I've pretty much done refurbished, set up shops. When I was living out of Iowa or South Dakota, had kind of a wagon wheel, and the different shops, which were mainly retired guys and gals, or else a couple of prisons, but each shop would be responsible to do certain kinds of chairs, which 20 years ago, that was manageable. You could literally, if you had 100,000 square foot warehouse, you still wouldn't have what you need to repair everything. So,
Yeah.
That's kind of required me to do, one line of wheelchairs that accomplished as much as possible. But back to doing everything under one roof, the one thing that we have to depend on, either China or Mexico, is wheels. And but I'm working with the guy. He was the former product development guy, vice president for Permobile. He's wants to help us to do our own plastics here. And I guess there's some cutting edge plastics that's coming down the line where we could literally recycle and not have to sort out all the different types of plastic. It's a whole new process where you literally heat up and spin plastics and then get it into a hot blob and then you press it. So it's injection molding is something that we've thought about, but then to think that you're going to use recycled plastics, you just wouldn't have the strength.
So will this be a mix? Will this be a mix of several kinds of recycled plastics? That's okay.
Yeah. If I understand correctly, you can take everything from plastic bags to bottles and mix it all together. Anyway, Guatemala, if we can help clean up the pollution and build wheelchairs on top of it, and then actually we want to build some components for his up and coming company where we'll actually provide employment, generate an income, and actually fund our wheelchairs so we can basically send them out the door and not have to raise money for them. That's our goal. That's probably our, we do have to find foundations and sponsors so that we can give away the chairs. It's very, very rare. It might be 1 or 2 out of 100 chairs where a Guatemalan family could actually afford to pay for a chair. Sponsors come from family foundations, some successful businesses of friends that I know will sponsor clinics. When the COVID whole lockdown started, we had to limit only 10 people in a room, so we would only seat 4 children in a day, and we just barely kept our head above water by doing that. Of course, we have other donors that have helped us with our infrastructure and buying our machinery. We had a guy in Wisconsin buy most of our carpentry equipment. A friend of mine just paid for our CNC router machine, which just sailed from somewhere near Shanghai. So it's it's probably going to be more than $40,000-$50,000 here and get it. But it's a CNC that we can do 5 by 10 sheets. We use a lot of plywood. Hopefully, we hope to reduce that when we get into some of this plastic. A lot of our lateral supports and headrests and trays and foot plates can be done out of plastic rather than plywood. But anyway, we have foundations, like a Christian foundation, I think just sponsored 30 chairs. So as people come in, we can you know, the chair's already funded. We're doing a big order here for Mexico. So they're doing a run of 150 chairs. And 50 to Chiapas.
Mm.
And these are, you know, you understand our chairs, hardly two chairs are ever alike because of the adjustability. We're waiting, you're looking at 550 of our chairs. These are all 13 and 11-inch chairs. The whole frame is in a box. It's about a 1.5 foot square foot. Here's the seating system, footrest. Trays are over there, and then the wheels. Let me see if I can. Ask Pedro. Pedro. I'm going to have him turn off this extraction system. You know, we can't. Yeah, he can't see you because he's looking at the. But Pedro's our carpenter. We're gonna put that big CNC router here, so the router will be able to cut and drill. Pedro, ¿puede enseñar su router? The router that we have now is homemade. It was actually a plasma cutter because our partnering organization, Mission Impact, makes fuel efficient stoves. And if you know anything about south of the border, there's a lot of deforestation going on. This is a homemade, was a plasma cutter, but it's, so we can do trays. We also build the standing frames for Stand With Me. And then so, but this is all homemade. And you can see all the trays there. Gracias. And,
so does it cut with an end mill, or what is it cutting the plywood with?
It's a router. ¿Cuántos caballos?
Okay.
¿Tres cuartos? Huh? It's a 1 horsepower. Is it a? It's a Makita router, but they overheat. We're really pushing it too hard.
Mm.
But you know, we've made it. It's 1 horsepower. But we're gonna send that over to the vocational school. But this is something. I don't know how many years ago we went to the FabTech show to look at different machines and looked at powder coating systems. But so here's the deburr. I should have started with the laser cutter, but then it comes and goes through this deburring machine with the
abrasive chip pieces.
Yeah, it's some kind of ceramic, but anyway, it pumps water in there and then it comes out the table, a dryer, a vibrator. But you got to get all the oils before you put it in the powder coating. So he's getting ready to, so we built this from scratch. Because when you have limited budget, you gotta spent a lot of time online trying to figure out how to get the, you know, the heat and the ventilation and to come through as the holes, you know, because the heat rises anyway. There's a lot of thought put into this oven, and we built our you'll take, You know, he'll take these pieces off, put them over here, and this, because we're just painting with black, see all the powder that collects on there, we can vibrate that and then reuse the powder. So it's so much cheaper than what we used to spend when we use the automotive paint and hardener.
Quite a nice setup of racks you've got for painting.
Yeah, we've had to build it all by, because it's not like you can, who you know, we're nonprofit, who can afford,
Mm-hmm.
you know, lather, bender.
We did the same thing in the Philippines with powder coating years back. We did a really crude one in Nicaragua, but that's history now. The Philippine one worked very well, but it was probably only 10 or 20% of the size of your setup.
Uh-huh. And this works for us now, but you know, this is our iron worker, so we can, you know, cut slots.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see where there. Punch there, chop here, punch.
Those
angle,
are great tools.
Bend. We found this in an auction here. No, actually, this one might have came out of Colorado. We're still waiting to get the CNC milling machine fixed. It was donated, and then we got to put some new computer stuff in. Is Carlitos. So he's our machinist here and welder. Some of our guys are working the night shift, and we're building. This is some some beams for a community center. But here's our chop saws, our hydraulic press, and you understand how, you know, this is our seat to back angle. We have a right and left, and that allows us to open and close the seat to back angle. But this is our fiber laser. So you can see Hyro, I don't know where he's at now. A lot of our guys are cross-trained. So, you know, this is a couple of days worth of cutting. And, you know, the nice thing is we can, when you go with this CNC, if you're stamping stuff, to keep the price down, you got to do tens of thousands. But then if you want to make any changes.
Yep.
But anyway, doing CNC. So that's why, the Beeline, we were using, this is our swing up armrest piece. We were using a 1x2 inch aluminum, and then Peter Axelson and their beneficial designs, they were putting some weight on it and it wouldn't hold up, so we had design something. The thing is we have to err on the side of durability rather than lightweight. And when you're building pediatric chairs, they're anyway. The irises and the Invicare chairs, their tilting space chairs, are probably actually a lot heavier than our chairs. Not that ours is that light.
Great that Peter is doing your testing. He's done a fair amount of testing with us too, for us.
Yeah, we got so far with it, then he threw the ball back in our court, and then with COVID, everything kind of screeched to a halt. So we got to, right. But we've got to do, but with our partnership with some of these people that used to work for Permobile and Comfort Company, they're going to help us do our manuals, because it's just something we just have to do some of it. This is a project with Laterno. You can clip this off and drop it and then just drive away in your chair. The problem is the engineering student that did this, I just talked to him the other day. He's polished this up because it's not as easy to use to flip it up, but it shouldn't only take more than 5 seconds to pop that off. And we're using like motorcycle batteries, but lithium batteries, when we first came up with this project, you couldn't get lithium batteries. Now there's all kinds of motorized motorcycle or battery powered bicycles. And so we're probably gonna rethink what kind of batteries we use. The advantage to having motorcycle batteries is they're so darn heavy, it puts the weight up front where you need it. So you can climb the grade. But we got more work to do on that.
You might look at electric drill lithium batteries as well. I know those are available in Guatemala. That a lot of people who work offline, construction or whatever, that drill is a godsend for them, and so they've taken off like wildfire, the sales of lithium drills.
Two of our girls that are in wheelchairs are not here today. One is in Brazil. She's on the America Cup. She's on the women's basketball team. And then our other girl studies. She'll work 2 or 3 days and then study 2 or 3 days. So, but this is our upholstery area. Normally it's more active here, but it's color coded here by the dense, so we go with the denser stuff. We were using as a base because there's a lot of factories that maquiladores that make clothes for the U.S. press this. It's actually pressed under, it's just a bunch of shredded fabric scraps. But all of a sudden we couldn't get it for a while. I heard that Volkswagen was buying it here and sending it to Mexico for their cars. And all of a sudden for the last 3 or 4 months, we haven't been able to get it. So we've having to do some denser foam. Yeah, the problem is with supply chain is as soon as you get something figured out, next thing you know, you can't get that particular plywood or foam or naga hide. Here's another prototype power chair here with the motors and the wheels. And we had to move a bunch of stuff out of storage because the container, we're gonna waiting for the trucking company to come, and we're gonna put the 550 pediatric chairs in that container and then ship them to Kenya, and they'll use it for storage.